Joining us now, former Vancouver Canuck TSN hockey analyst from Woodbridge, Ontario. We're doing the Hockey Canada introductions this week, Frank. Mr. Frank Corrado. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. What's going on, boys? I got this pen right here. What does this pen say? Can you read that?
Positive vibes.
Wow, look at that. Positive vibes on a Friday. What's happening?
Oh, man. I just, honestly, I feel emotionally drained.
Relief.
Relief. Emotionally drained. Maybe a little dehydration, if I'm being honest. But what a hell of a night last night for Canadian hockey and for the country.
Yeah, it's interesting because if the Americans won that game, they had the right to claim that hockey is now theirs. They've been better than us at the World Juniors, and now if they did it last night, they could say they did it at the men's level. What are we hanging on to? And for Canada to pull that off is amazing in so many senses of the word. The fact that Connor McDavid scores the game-winning goal. Like, the best player in the world is Canadian, and he had the best moment in the biggest game. Like, that is how you would script it. The fact that they have the best goalie in the world, but last night, Canada had the best goalie in that game. And that is, something that I think a lot of people were anxious about. How is that matchup going to play out? And to say that we still own it, like, regardless of what's happened at the World Junior level, when it comes to the men's, the NHL, the best players, injuries aside, like, it's all part of it. Canada had injuries. The United States had injuries. Canada can still say we're on top, and that's a great feeling. And it's actually, being Canadian, it's such a source of pride.
So we win the game, and we can also assign blame, which is great. I love doing both of these things. Why is Connor McDavid so damn wide open there? Is that Austin Matthews getting attracted
it's not
to his
Austin
buddy
Matthews.
Marner? No? Okay.
I should do a video of this today.
You should.
I don't know if I'll have time, but that is not Austin Matthews' responsibility. If you play the clip and you watch it, it's off the face-off. The play that that Canada runs it's called an under-over, meaning one player on the face-off is going to go under the circle, one player is going to go over the circle. So the player who started in front of the net, he's going up around to the wall. Okay, what happens is Adam Fox is the defenseman on the boards. He's supposed to take his guy halfway and take a look and realize, oh crap, the guy that started in front of the net, he's gone over the circle. I got to hand off my guy to the net front, and I got to go back out to the wall. He doesn't do that. He stays with his guy. I can't remember who it was, but he stays with his guy all the way. I think it was Braden Point. All the way to the front of the net, so much so that he goes and cross-checks him. And by the time that puck comes around the wall, now Matthews is like, well, this guy didn't go, so now I got to go. But then Fox goes, and two guys go and leave McDavid all alone in front of the net. So the mistake is on Fox. It looks like it's on Matthews, but Matthews is trying to clean up the mess that the other guy made.
What I love about it, listen to the video closely. He calls for the puck like Sidney with Iggy. You can hear a faint call for the puck from McDavid if you watch the clip back. Frank, talking about we still own it, like I was explaining to some American friends that last night that even in the chummiest of times, we need hockey for cultural identity. Like, you can go to the most remote island in Indonesia, tell them you're Canadian, and someone will say ice hockey. But given the political tensions and relationships of the day, like, I'm not sure the sun would have come up on this country had we lost last night.
I know. Well, it's like, that's what we have. That's always our thing. Like, anywhere, like you mentioned, anywhere you go in the world, anyone you talk to, hockey is Canada's thing. And in order for that to be retained, you do have to win. Like, you can't just say we're more passionate, we care about it more. You actually do have to perform, and you do have to win. So, it goes without saying how important it was that the men's team, the best of the best on that side of things, gets the win. Because on the American side, if they won, everyone knows, man, it's like, it's now our game, and we've caught up, and we've passed you, and you got work to do, and you guys have to have the summit because you don't produce goaltenders, and you don't produce the skill that we have, and the CHL is broken, and the under-18 development program is the model, and look, and you know what? Those conversations just get kicked down the road a little bit because Canada wins, and the best player in the world was playing for Canada, and he had the biggest moment, of course, scoring the game-winning goal.
Yeah, you're quite right. Like, we risked being England in soccer here. You deliver the game to the world, but you don't win it anymore, and that is not a reality we have to face.
That's sad, buddy, because I consider England such a, like, not a pushover, but like almost like a fugazi when it comes to like the World Cup stage. I'm like, they're so low on my list compared to where they should be, right? Like, they're still relatively high, but compared to where they should be, it's like, I don't know. Like, there's
until
they
do it, they don't deserve.
I mean, they played in the World Cup final and a Euro final. They've done better here recently, but yeah, they haven't won it since the 60s. So it's a thing. I want to spend a minute on the guy you mentioned, Jordan Binnington. And for those who don't know, Frank grew up with Jordan, playing minor hockey.
Can you send the apology flowers and cards?
I was going to say,
to him.
I don't think he's accepting apologies. He's not accepting.
No, he's not really that type now, is he? There's 38 million apologies required, including from this guy. I guess you haven't spoken to him yet, but a word or two about your childhood friend and your emotions for him after what was a hell of a up and down ride in the Canadian goal.
It's funny that you said I haven't heard from him yet, because I sent him a message this morning, and he just got back. Like, he just got back to me about an hour ago. I won't tell you what he said, but it was something along the lines of "Thanks, brother," and "Thanks for having my back," something like that. Anyways, I think the world of Binner. I think he is he's a great person first and foremost. Let's do the personality thing, okay? Let's get this out of the way, because he has this persona that has come across as like he's almost like a villain to so many people, and that's not representative of him. He is a like very kind-hearted, just awesome person. I think that is a little bit of like an alter ego, performer self that he puts on that a lot of athletes do. Like Johnny McEnroe did that in tennis, where it's like he had to be upset and pissed off at somebody, whether it was the opponent, whether it was someone in the crowd, whether it was the chair umpire. He had to play with that fire, so he manufactured it. I think a little bit of that villain persona is somewhat manufactured by him, but he is he's an unbelievable guy. I think for Jordan, he thrives being the underdog, being the guy that you counted out. And I'll give you, some examples. In the OHL, he won the OHL championship playing for the Owen Sound Attack. I believe it was his draft year when he did that. He stepped in and he carried the mail, and they beat like a heavily favored Mississauga St. Michael's Majors team. They went on to the Memorial Cup. Then in the NHL, he's, lower on the depth chart in St. Louis, so much so that he's not even playing with their affiliate. Like, he's playing for the Providence Bruins at one point. They started him in the East Coast League when everyone else was getting chances in the AHL. And he comes in, underdog, going up against the Bruins, Tuukka Rask, Game 7, he wins, unbeatable on that playoff run. And then last night, this guy's going up against Connor Hellebuck, who's going to win the Vezina and is like the undisputed best goalie in the world. And not only did he go save for save, like he outperformed Connor Hellebuck last night. And listen, he's not Connor Hellebuck, but in a one-game, one-night situation, I think that underdog mentality and the confidence and the mental strength he has, you can kind of see why he has that like alter ego persona and how it kind of meshes together for him. Because there's just something about, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, that a coach like John Cooper can sniff that out and say, I'm going to go with this guy. Like, my coach's gut just tells me something good can happen.
And ultimately,
so right.
And two goals against per game, it's got to be good enough at this level.
I joked this week, Frank, that I felt like the best defenseman Jordan Binnington ever had, because I saw the commentary online, and I'm like, guys, that's not it. Like, we're not scoring enough goals. You make a sensational point about Cooper smelling that out and understanding the type of competitor he was dealing with. And he's not the first to cultivate that sort of competitive edge, give no quarter. Hell, Patrick Vaughan, Marty Brodeur were like that, right? Like, there is a long lineage of Canadian goaltenders doing that. And I can remember talking to you a couple of months ago, Frank, and I said, I would start Binnington because I don't want a goaltender in the cage who has the slightest bit of self-doubt. I want someone who feels they belong there, even if their career resume isn't quite up to the Sidney Crosby or the Connor McDavids of the world. And, that question he was asked in the morning yesterday, are you nervous? And he turns and goes, do I look nervous? All stone-faced as he is. Chef's kiss. Beautiful.
But do you remember that, right? You remember from his playoff run. Someone asked, someone asked him flat out, and I don't think he was trying to be standoffish or anything. I think he was just being genuine. Like, do I look nervous? Like,
that's just him. That's just him.
Yeah.
He's unflappable. And the blocker and glove saves last night.
Is he always that swimmy, though? Like, I don't remember him being that swimmy. And, man, I think that's what breeds the nervousness amongst fans is that in an era where everybody is so stoic in net, and I mean playing style, not personality, he's pretty out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's generally like that. I don't like, the technical aspect of being a goaltender. Of course, you want to see him calm and under control and composed. And like ultimately, you want every shot to hit the goaltender in the chest because that means you're square and you're on your angles and, you're not overly athletic or acrobatic for no reason. But I think, over the course of a 7-game series, if you saw that, you're like, okay, at some point the dam's going to break. But in a 1-game thing, you look at it and say, just make those saves, baby. Like that's all we kind of need right now. And he did it, and it worked. And as far as him and kind of quieting things down, I'm sure that's always a work in progress for every goalie.
Do you think Canada played better in the first game? I think so.
I don't. I think they played better last night. And part of that has to do with Matthew Tkachuk wasn't out there, Charlie McAvoy wasn't out there, so you lose. You do lose a little bit. You lose quite a bit not having those guys. But I think Canada was able to play in the middle of the ice more. I thought the first game, they played, it was 5 blue jerseys clogging things up, Canada to the outside. Everything that tried to go across the ice either got picked off or kind of discarded away. I thought they were better last night, but they did. I will say this: they gave up some higher quality chances last night, where they were willing to trade them more than they did on Saturday, and that's where Binnington really came through and bailed them out.
Give me a player you liked from Team Canada last night beyond Binnington.
Oh, Thomas Harley. I thought Thomas Harley was awesome. The McKinnon goal was so cool because this kid who gets thrust into this tournament and has to watch his first practice from behind a door. He came into his first game, he played well. And then Josh Morrissey is sick, so he can't play. And by the way, for Josh Morrissey to miss that game, I kind of picture he was either sitting on the toilet the whole game or was hugging the toilet the whole game.
Yeah.
That's how sick you would have to be to miss that game. And for Thomas Harley, the McKinnon goal where he makes the pass down and then he says, screw it, I'm driving right through the middle. It's you could have every reason to just say, playing it safe, it's early in the game, don't want to make a mistake, just kind of keep it simple. He's like, no, I'm getting involved, and this is an assertive play I'm going to make. And the result of that is that empty space and ice in the top of the zone for McKinnon to kind of walk across and take that shot with the screen in front. So, Thomas Harley has an impact on that. I thought he was really good. His decisions with the puck, kind of lugging it or making good passes in transition through the neutral zone. Good battles, winning body positioning on guys. I thought he was awesome. I think, 2 guys I would say unsung heroes for Team Canada didn't play in game 1 of this tournament. Thomas Harley and Sam Bennett. And of course, Sam Bennett scores last night. And you think about, the physical kind of response he had to have the first time against the Americans. And for him, he does it all. He's one of those guys that does it all, has to answer the bell physically, but also scores a big goal and just kind of plays hard and, quote unquote, the right way. Those are 2 guys that I look at and say they flew under the radar.
Hey, the first 41 NHL games of Thomas Harley's career, 6 points up and down from the AHL back to the end and back down. You're wondering, okay, first-round defenseman, he has really blossomed over the last year and a half in Dallas, and I think he booked his ticket to Milano Cortina with his performance in this tournament. Also, like Cooper, a dual citizen, U.S. born, Thomas
Syracuse
Harley.
guy.
How much of a difference does Quinn Hughes make if he plays in the game?
Massive difference. Well, I think the whole tournament would have a different look and complexion for Team USA with Quinn Hughes. I mean, you guys are spoiled. You watch it every night. Think about how much play he controls and how different the landscape of the game looks when he's on the ice. All of a sudden, it's not just boilerplate D to D, send it up the wall. It's like it's D to D, shimmy shake, head fake. Now I'm got you beat and I'm skating up and we're attacking. It's just, I think the American team would have been in attack mode a little bit more. And then if that's the case, what does that do for an Austin Matthews or a Kyle Connor who, finds himself healthy scratch last night?
Kyle Connor.
Right?
Crazy decision. Crazy.
I think that might be overthinking it a little bit, to be honest with you. That's a game where we know the margins are going to be thin and one shot can win it. And everyone's going to play well defensively. It's just that's the byproduct of that kind of game. Why would you want to go into that with less ammo?
A speedy top 6 goal scorer in the league. Yeah, let's leave him out of the lineup. It's crazy.
That's a galaxy brain decision for me. But I think it looks really different with Quinn Hughes on for the whole tournament, and not having Charlie McAvoy is a big difference for them, right? Because how many guys have hit McDavid to the point where he's horizontally in the air? We just don't see it, right? But McAvoy did it on Saturday to McDavid, and he got him a couple times, and he got Crosby. So I think they were missing that punishing element. And Canada, without having that, now you can't break up cycles the same way you normally would, and that's an extra, 15, 20 seconds of Canada in the offensive zone. So those little things over the course of a game add up. And so, those are big losses. But at the same time, Canada didn't have Pietrangelo, Theodore, Josh Morrissey, sort of 3 of the 4-5 best defensemen for Canada. I mean, that's a pretty significant chunk of quality players that Canada didn't have.
Hughes, Tkachuk, McAvoy, Theodore, Morrissey, Pietrangelo, not much to choose from there. I wholeheartedly agree because Quinn's he's a maestro. He's an orchestrator, and the U.S. team plays differently without him. We won't know. I suppose we'll find out how they play next winter in Italy. With Quinn on that team, hopefully in good health. Okay, we got to ask you the Canucks news, Frank, because Demko week to week with yet another but different injury this time around, and they re-signed Lankinen to the 5-year deal. What are your thoughts on Canucks goaltending here on a go-forward basis?
So the AAV, I think, is great for Kevin Lankinen. I think he's fully deserving of that on a 5-year deal. I have no issue with that. I feel like that's the market for that kind of goalie on that kind of term. The term is what interests me. Who says you have to go to 5 years with Kevin Lankinen? I guess you want to, but why do you want to? Are you where are you at with Thatcher Demko?
I think it's because Thompson got 6, Blackwood and DeCord got 5.
So you're saying, if you're looking around, you're saying that's what these guys are getting. I'll take 5 years. Listen, this is a guy who signed late, and he's been unbelievable for the majority of his games, save for a few, and is basically if you didn't have Kevin Lankinen and you put all your trust in Artur Shilovs this year, you're probably out of a playoff spot given the way that he started the season. So you could say that this guy saved the year for the Canucks. So very well deserved. And you know what? I get the 5 years, but and I don't want to sound alarmist or anything like that, but Demko's dealing with stuff that no one's really dealt with. And, we don't really know, he's kind of been in and out. So it is, I think the 5 years is a little bit of, let's just lock someone up, have some security, and say that, if something does happen, we feel like we're still in a decent spot and we have someone who can help us, adequately for the time being.
If both guys are at worst just average the rest of the way, when Demko comes back in a couple weeks here, who starts game one? Has enough trust been lost here that Thatcher Demko has lost that game one start in the playoffs?
Oh man, I think if Demko's healthy, isn't it just so intriguing what he would be able to do for it? Like if he's truly healthy.
He has to be truly healthy. Yes.
Yeah,
not just able to play. Yes.
Exactly. There's a difference. There's a difference between I'm able to play and I'm cleared to play and I'm actually healthy and thriving. And I guess my line of view is that I'm just presuming that Demko's not going to be fully healthy all season long. He's always going to be cleared to play or not cleared to play. There's always going to be fighting something. And so, with that being said, do you look at it and say, well, we're this far down the road with Demko, so we might as well just start him in the first round of the playoffs anyways, and if we don't like it or if it tweaks something, we can go to him in game 2, we can go to him in game 3, and we know what Lankinen is going to do for us. Like maybe that's what you do. You kind of, milk it for all it's worth with Demko this year and see if the offseason can get him to the right space next year where it feels like he's not having to go through this battle. But it feels more like a 1A, 1B than it ever has, with Demko, I guess, outside of the years he was with Jacob Markstrom.
Last question, Frank. Brandon Hagel revealed that, Canada does have a group chat, as a matter of fact, in the aftermath last night, and that big circle in the middle with the initials SC. Mm-hmm. Do you have Sydney's number?
I got it.
Hey! Have you texted him yet?
No, I don't know if I'll text him. I don't know, man. I think that would be strange for me to. I don't know.
Remember me?
I got it. Hold on.
Frank Corrado, Sidney Crosby. Not that tight.
Oh, there it is. SC.
Hey! Careful, don't show.
Oh, man. We're going to have to double check that, Raj. Make sure that nothing showed there.
I got you.
But the hilarious thing is, like, when Hagel was saying, like, we don't have group chats, he was saying we don't have side group chats. We just have the main group chat that we all talk in. We don't, like, make residual group chats. Like, if we just have something to say, we say it, all of us, the boys.
It has long been the American way. The cliques, the infighting, the ego, the individualism. Canada, we do community.
Yeah.
Frank, thank you for this. Great day to be a Canadian hockey fan. Thanks for this, and we'll catch up next week.
See you guys. Thanks.